What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. Just before we get into that update, do check out our website, WeAreTottenhamTV.co.uk, where we'll be reacting to the best comments on each and every article. So go in there, check out the articles of the latest ongoings at Tottenham Hotspur and put in your best comment, and we'll be reacting to the ones on there. But let's get into the stuff that is going around Tottenham Hotspur the last 24 hours. Fabrizio Romano has been speaking on his YouTube channel in the last 24 hours, talking about Spurs' January plans, and he says, on Spurs, we know they have some injuries in defence at the moment, but they are not desperate to sign cover. It will depend on opportunities. They've been unlucky because they've had a lot of injuries at the same time, but I'm told they won't panic because they know most of these players will be back by the end of December, so they'll assess the situation then. Overall, I don't see Tottenham spending crazy money in January, and that's not the plan at the moment. They're happy with the balance in the squad right now, but of course the recovery process of some key players will be important, so perhaps they could look for opportunities towards the end of the January transfer window. I mean, if you were Spurs in the Spurs hierarchy at the moment, would you be desperate for defensive cover and defensive reinforcements at the moment?
What I would say is that it's important not to panic. And
yeah,
I
that's
think,
for sure.
And I think you shouldn't panic by just because we've got injuries. 100% right. But it is BS to say that we don't need defensive cover, because we've been calling for it even in the summer, not just because Van de Ven has got injured. I understand Van de Ven, the injury to him has exacerbated the issue and it's exposed our lack of cover. But we've needed this. Even before Van de Ven got injured, everyone would have said, do we need another centre-back? Everyone would have said yes. So this isn't about panicking. This isn't about Spurs fans saying, oh, Van de Ven's injured, so we need a defender. It's like we've needed cover regardless of the injury. Exactly. So to say that, oh, we're not going to panic and all that kind of stuff, I don't want Spurs to sign any centre-back just because we have an injury, but we should have dealt with this beforehand in the summer when we had the opportunity to. We had a bit of time to sign another defender. We weren't able to get it over the line. So I think hopefully in January we can sort out that situation, but we are 100% desperate for defensive cover. I don't understand the insinuation that we're not. I mean, we definitely are.
It does worry me that, you know, you're seeing all these reliable journalists, Romano, David Ornstein last week, saying that there's not that much money to spend. They're not looking to spend that much money in January. I mean, if I'm Spurs and looking at the January transfer bids that we need to do, I mean, the cover in this squad is worrying, really worrying. And you've already seen with a couple of injuries. I mean, we've got a lot of injuries right now, but all we needed was one or two of those injuries and the cover and the lack of cover would have come to the fore. I mean, now with so many injuries, we just need to build the squad. The starting 11's fine. I don't mind the starting 11, but after that is a big, big problem. And to say that we're going to go into January and only look at opportunities maybe towards the end of the window does worry me. It stinks of lack of planning again.
100%. And this is something we've consistently been critical of the board for the lack of long-term planning. And it looked like in the summer, things maybe they were starting to do things in a different way. Even who was it? Romero even commented saying, "Looks like the board are changing the direction they're going in, and they're doing things a different way," which I definitely applaud. But again, when you hear things like that, it's like they're up to their old tricks again, and they're just looking for opportunities. Why can't we just plan to sign a centre back or plan to mould the squad and act accordingly? And or the planning should already have started. You should be looking. I mean, to be fair, Ange said they're already planning for things in January, so maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. But from what the journalists are insinuating, it seems as though we're just going to come into January and see who's available rather than really planning ahead of time as to who they want.
Maybe we should just trust in Ange and not go over the top about these things then.
Yeah, maybe. But that's not what the channel's about.
Fabrizio Romano was also speaking about Santiago Jimenez yesterday, and he says it's important to say that Tottenham do keep following Santiago. They know the player so well and keep sending scouts to follow the boy. The player could be available for around 40 million euros in January. If we were to sign someone like Jimenez, does that signal that maybe Ange sees Sonny as a left winger?
I hope not, because I don't see Sonny as a left winger, and I think those times are surely gone. We have to see Sonny as a striker, but the fact of the matter is Sonny's 31. There's no hiding that, and as much as I believe he's still got a few years at the top, maybe, you know, at some point you've got to start succession planning. And Santiago, you know, 22 years of age, a decent price as well. Could he be the long-term successor to Son in the striking position? Maybe. And I guess if you don't sign him now, we're saying, look, Son's our number one and we're not going to sign anyone in that position. Maybe you risk losing out on him. And if you really believe he's a perfect fit for what we want to do, then go for it. But I think the days of Sonny being a left winger are gone, honestly, and I don't want to see them back again. I don't think that's his position anymore. And if he does sign Santiago, I still want to see us sign a left winger. I don't want Son moved over there.
Well, your wishes could come true, because the next person that we're linked to is a left winger in Antonio Nusa. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham Hotspur are following the 18-year-old Norwegian winger Antonio Nusa. Spurs did send scouts to watch him recently, and many other clubs across Europe also appreciate the player. In terms of this year in the Belgian league, he's had 9 games, scored 2 goals, grabbed 2 assists. He grabbed an assist in the Conference League qualifiers as well. I'm looking at his FB ref, and he's like in the 99th percentile for like take on, successful carries, progressive passes, touches in the attacking penalty area, progressive passes received, total shots, shot creating actions as well. He does seem like a player with the attributes that Ange really wants at left wing.
Yeah, and I think that we need a bit of that, some youthful exuberance on the wing at the moment. Someone with who will scare the opposition with electrifying pace, able to take people on, and even a very young player like 18. Look, you see what Lamina's doing at Barcelona. He's 16 and he's taking that league by storm, isn't he?
You're talking about Yamal,
sorry.
He's like 16.
Yes, I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's 16. I'm saying he's been amazing. So I don't like, when it comes to these positions, I know we've not criticized, but we said like for people like Ashley Phillips and Dorrington, should they be playing at centre-back? But I think that those kind of positions, even central midfield, it's very different to playing out wide, where you gain advantages by taking risks and trying things. You can't really do that as an 18-year-old at centre-back. So when you make a mistake, it's costly. If you lose the ball as an 18-year-old winger, it doesn't really matter. You get the ball again, you try again. So that's why I'm more in favour of, if you tell me put an 18-year-old out wide, I'm more in favour of that. Why not? And if this guy seems to profile really well, clearly very good at dribbling and stuff like that, already getting goal contributions at 18 years of age, even though it's in the Belgian league at 18, that's not to be sniffed at. I think we need a really young winger to come in and mix things up out wide, because at the moment I'm looking at options out wide and I don't think they're bad, but I just don't see anyone who's like very good at dribbling, and that's what we're really missing. We
need that kind of one-on-one demon on our wing, you know what I mean? We're definitely missing that, and Ange has spoken about how the attack is not exactly how it wants it to be. We've still got a lot of work to do in terms of the fluidity in attack. And we need to bring in players in the mould of Ange Postecoglou. We don't really have that on the wings at the moment.
Look at all the top teams. I'm looking off the top of my head. Every top team has these players. You've got Madrid, they've got Vinicius Junior. Man City now have Doku. That was the one thing they're missing.
Arsenal, Martinelli, Saka.
Exactly. All the top teams, they have these players who can really good. And you look at our options, and I'm not saying they're bad players, but we don't have anyone of that profile, and that's what we need.
I would love to bring in this guy. I really would. I have seen a few compilations of him. He does look brilliant, but I have seen a lot of compilations on a lot of players that look brilliant. I didn't turn out to be brilliant. But another player that Spurs are linked with is Samuel IllingJunior of Juventus, as Miguel Delaney says that Tottenham are looking at the Juventus England under-21 international Samuel IllingJunior as a January signing, as they seek to add much needed depth in their depleted squad. The England under-21 international promptly plays on the wing, but can also play across the centre and in midfield.
That's very good. Would he count as homegrown as well? I don't know.
I imagine he would if he's in England under 21.
Yeah, but it's complicated because maybe he spent most of his career at Juventus.
No, because he came through the Chelsea academy.
Okay, so he counts as homegrown. So that's a positive as well. That would help with our problems with the homegrown quotas as well. He's made 12 appearances last season for Juventus. This season he's made a few as well. So 20 years of age, clearly a very good dribbler as well, and versatile. So it seems like a really promising prospect.
Yeah, and probably I'm guessing that Don Fabio would know a lot about him as well, being at Juventus. So as well, I mean, Samuel IllingJunior was getting a lot more of a look in last season. This season he's been fallen by the wayside a little bit, but maybe the scouting system and Paratici see something in him that maybe Juventus don't.
We've got a good record with Juventus rejects, don't you? Yeah,
exactly. And last but not least, Romanista, which is a Roma publication, claimed that Roma defensive midfielder Brian Cristante is of interest of Tottenham. Would you like to see him at Spurs?
I think he's a good player, Cristante. I think he's more of a number 6, and he's definitely different to Basuma in terms of how Basuma likes to play that role. He's much more of a sitting passer kind of player. He's very good technical on the ball ability. He can actually play centre back as well. I think he's played a number of times at centre back as well. So a bit of versatility. I don't think he's like the quickest player, but in terms of like, I'm looking at our midfield. I think he would probably come in, and in terms of our defensive midfielders, probably might be the best passer out of the lot. So I think he adds another element there, but he doesn't have like that ball carrying ability that Basuma does. He's still a good like defensive player, like tackling and stuff. Covers a lot of ground. I think he would be a really good backup to Basuma, actually.
So would you say like he would be a good signing and replacement for Højbjerg if he was to leave?
I think he's a much better technical passer than Højbjerg. So I think, makes sense.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is our Tottenham update for today. Let me know your thoughts on any of the news topics we've spoken about today. Which of these players would you like to bring in? And do you think Spurs are desperate for defensive reinforcements? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.